Maybe I can ask you a bit about your parents. And your father was
Mm,
a taxi driver. That was his
mm,
job.
his eventual job. When I was younger, I heard that he
Ah,
was also a salesman. You know, he wasn't a full-time taxi driver then, but he had another job. Then he was a relief driver at night. So he took on a few jobs because, like I say, life was kind of hard. So my
mm,
father took on a few jobs to make ends meet, to put three meals on the table. But
mm.
eventually, he became a full-time driver. So he had his own so-called taxi.
Okay. And your
Mm.
mom, did she work?
No, she was a housewife all her life. Yeah. Before marriage, of course, she was working in a factory, but she gave up to look after us when she had children.
Did your parents ever think about, like moving out and buying a flat?
Yes, yeah. There was a period. I heard from my mom that they even applied for a flat in Tampines. At that time, I think Tampines was a
Mm,
really new town. Because prior to that, it was more like a rural place.
mm.
Yeah. So um there were conflicting views because our rental flat was really cheap. Like maybe the rental fee was $40, then eventually became
Yeah.
60 to 80, but still relatively cheap. So when my dad like was asking for opinions with his friends, there was a group of friends who say, no, you shouldn't move. You know, your rental is so cheap. Where to find this kind of flats now? Then there's another group who says that, oh, you continue to pay rent. At the end of the day, the house doesn't belong to you. Why don't you buy a flat? Yeah. So there were like two conflicting thoughts. So
Mm,
there was a time when my parents really applied for a flat and they got it. I heard from my mom they got the Tampines flat.
mm.
But before they paid for it, then my father was like, oh, listen to another the first group of friends
Ah,
who say that no, you shouldn't move.
okay.
So they gave up this flat.
Oh, he
So we
changed his mind.
continue to stay. We continue to stay in that
Okay.
that rental flat all the way until no choice because the government wanted to demolish it.
I guess one of the kind of factors, right, with about buying a house would be CPF, right? And your father, maybe driving a taxi, he wouldn't
Yeah, I don't
have,
think he had
yeah, he would have
much
to
CP.
contribute
Yeah.
himself, right? Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Was there ever a factor? Did he ever talk about CPF thing?
No, maybe because we were too young. I was in primary
Mm,
school, so he didn't tell us about. I didn't even know. Maybe I didn't even know about CPF at that time. But of course, money is always a consideration in my family. So I
mm,
wouldn't know whether it is due to lack of CPF, but it is always like maybe he thinks that it's cheaper to stay in a rental flat than
right.
committing to buying a house. Yeah. Mm.
A question about this rental flat, right? By 1999, um, was there any maintenance throughout the years? Did you paint it again or renovate it in some way? How was the condition like by 1999?
I I I wouldn't even say that it is dilapidated. I think it is quite well maintained.
Mm.
Yeah.
Quality is still good lah, right? The
I think it is good.
workmanship.
The only thing is because we were on low-lying ground,
Mm,
especially my neighboring blocks. So when it rains, right, there will be okay, like at that time we don't call ponding, we call flooding. So
mm.
it really floods a lot. Let me show you this photo. Sorry, I have so many photos.
Mm. There are drains, right? But you will still flood.
Rain,
Mm,
yeah. There's this two longkang, which
mm.
is now part of the canal. You know the park connector.
Yes.
Yeah, so it is covered up already. Okay. It's a little blur. I saw this photo.
Uh,
I think someone
yeah.
posted on Facebook. Yeah. So this is my neighboring block. And when it rains, right? Wow, I can see my neighbors scrambling to get their furniture. Because there's upstairs, right, to the second floor. So they would carry all their stuffs up the staircase to the second floor to prevent them from getting wet. Okay, my block, fortunately, is on a little bit high ground, so it doesn't flood that much. So we don't have to do that. But I always see my neighbors doing that when it rains. And I always thought that it is very fun. Now I would ask my mom, hey, how come our house don't flood?
You wouldn't want water coming into your house.
I thought it was fun, yeah. But we didn't complain. We love the rainy days and the flood. We didn't
Yeah.
complain.
So you talked about, when the HDB letter came, your father was kind of unwilling to leave, right? How about yourself?
Uh
Mm.
I was looking forward to it. Yeah, I was because I would imagine living on high floor with shower,
Mm.
away from the rodents and the mosquitoes. Yeah, so I was looking forward to it. Yeah,
Of course. Yeah.
but of course now I miss my old house. When you grow older, you tend to be a little bit more like, oh, you reminisce and
Yeah.
nostalgia. But at that time, I was really looking forward, and yeah, I love
Why
the new
why
house. Yeah.
why why do you think there's this nostalgia come about? How,
Maybe with age, yeah.
with
Then
age?
you tend to, yeah, because now like, oh, all the flats look, okay, they are nice. I must say that Queenstown flats are very nice now. If you've been to like Strathmore, Dawson area, the
Mm.
flats there, wow, Sky Garden, so nice. They look like condos, yeah. And the playground is so different from our playground. Um, I I went to one of the Dawson new flats recently. I saw the playground. Wow, so nice. And um,
Mm.
the structures or whatever that they have, the games that they have is so different. I remember okay, near my house there wasn't a playground, but because I used to go to this market called Princess Market, and we have to cross this bridge over the canal that I mentioned. Yeah, the Alexandra Canal. So there's this very small playground there, which is just a seesaw on sand and a swing. And the swing is not even the rubber tire, it's the wooden plank kind. So it precedes the rubber tire
Mm.
era.
Mm.
Yeah, but I prefer the wooden plank because it is easier to sit on it. Whereas the tire, the rubber one is like the U shape. Wow, it's so painful. Your butt's like, ache. So I prefer the wooden plank. So I remember going to that little playground. My mom would, push us and always say, "Oh, push higher, push higher." You know,
This
we
playground
love
still
doing
around?
that. No, of course
Uh-huh.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have a classmate who stay at one of the blocks there, just right in front of the playground on the third floor, and she's an Indian classmate. Yeah. So those flats are not exactly like my flats. They are probably 3 or 4 stories only. Yeah. But these flats have balconies. Those flats at that time, they have balconies. So she could just stand at the balcony and talk to me when I was standing on the road level. So just like, no, say hi and all that.
You must have a picture of standing on a swing, right?
No,
No.
unfortunately, I don't have. No, no, no. Those days we don't have handphone, right?
Hello. I have a few
Mm.
pictures of myself standing on a
Is
swing.
it? I
Yes.
don't have. Yeah, but I remember those days when I keep asking my mom to push me higher, higher,
Yes.
go higher. Yeah. And I remember that place because of this Indian classmate. Because every Deepavali, she would invite me to her house to celebrate Deepavali. Her.
Mm.
Yeah, with her family. Yeah.
I mean, you talk about the age, but I think also it's got to do with the quality, right? Certain quality of growing up in um, Margaret Drive, like the tranquility, the peacefulness. So, do you think that is also like a contrast, right? A very good contrast to the pace of life that we have?
The pace of life.
Mm, mm. I
mm,
mean, that's what nostalgia is often about, right? Like, it's for a simpler time, a better time.
yeah,
Mm,
simpler, definitely.
mm,
But in terms of infrastructure and facilities, amenities, of course, I must say that now is so much better.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
Do
I
you?
do, yeah,
Mm,
another reason the nostalgia is also because of the food, I think.
mm.
Yeah. I remember this market that I mentioned just now. It has so many stores selling good food, and I can't find that kind of taste now, even in hawker centers.
This is the Margaret Drive food
The
center.
Princess Market. The Princess
Princess
Market.
Market.
It's
Okay.
not the Tazong one, it's the other one where Queenstown Community Center used to be.
Mm.
The very first location of Queenstown Community Center. And then they moved to the near to Tazong where you have this Huang Gong Xiyuan. Um
Mm.
what is the name of that cinema? Huang Gong Palace? Or Ni Huang?
Yeah.
Huang
What?
Gong is called Huang Gong. It's called Huang Gong. Yeah.
Yes.
So the very first original location of the Queenstown CC was actually at Strathmore, if I'm not wrong. So it's beside this market called Princess Market. Can you see? Oh, sorry, here. Princess Market.
Okay.
Yeah, Princess Market. So the Princess House. Are you familiar with the Princess House? It's still
Yes,
there.
yes.
It's conserved. So Princess House is still there, and the market is just like near there, next to it.
Mm.
Yeah. So wow, there was so many good food there. I really miss that market, I tell you, and the
What
provision shops.
what are some of these food?
Okay, the very first one that I miss is the min jiang gui. Not the kind of min jiang gui that we see now, not the big circle pan and then they fold it into semicircle and cut into many thick pieces. Not that kind. That
Yeah.
kind still exists now. I'm talking about those small round pans and then they just fold into a semicircle and you have that whole thing to yourself. Don't need to cut. It's so crispy. There's this old man who sells that kind of jiang gui there. Wow, it's so good. I remember I loved the peanuts one.
Mm.
He was still selling when my younger sister was young in the 80s. But eventually, of course, he stopped because he was really getting on in age. So that is one store that I love. Another one is the Chwee Kueh store there. Um, I remember buying 20s. 20 Chwee Kueh was only $1. And when we felt like indulging on a Sunday morning, my dad would give me like $1 and ask me to walk to the market to get like 20 Chwee Kueh for the whole family, yeah, for breakfast. So that is one. But another interesting one is the provision shop. Yeah. So
Okay.
the picture that I show you, there's this provision shop. There are a few provision shops there, but the
Right.
first one is a very popular one, not because not because people buy provisions from them. I'm not sure if I should say that because they sell 4D as well, private 4D.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a time when they don't have the cash register. They still use the Milo tin and they would like pull down with a pulley and put the money there. Yeah. So because they also sell private 4D. So my parents would ask me to go and buy. So at that time, it's not so strict. Like, children can also buy 4D. Not like they will ask you to show your IC. Yeah. So we would just go there, go to the counter and pass the money, pass the paper that my dad wrote with the numbers, like 大一小, whatever, to him. And then he would give me back some papers, which is like a receipt. So if you strike, you go back to the provision shop to get the money, to get your wins. Those are the private. But of course, now after that, the government has stop all this, ban all this. Now you can only go to Singapore pools, right? Yeah.
Private 4D is a nice way of putting it. Tell us when you started to, volunteer in Queenstown.
I think it has been a good 10 years. It was in 2016, coming to 10 years probably. Yeah.
Was that with my Queenstown at the time, right?
No, my community. They were already called my community. Yeah. So it was because I joined their Queenstown walk, Queenstown Tanglin Hall, and because I was an old resident. So when I did the walk, it brought back a lot of memories, and the guide who shared with us, he was also he was also my senior, very much my senior in the same primary school. Yeah, so I thought, hey, yeah, this is the place where I had so much good memories. I love this place. I still love this place. Why not I also join them to share, my memories, what I love about this place to the other people who don't know about Queenstown, or maybe to people who have also grown up in Queenstown and they might connect with me as well. There's a connection. We can do sharing because we do ask our participants to share their memories as well. So yeah, that's how I joined them after participating in one walk.
Yeah. So this walk, right? Tell us about the itinerary.
So we would start from Queenstown MRT station and bring them to, the Forfar Heights. There's this block of new flats, 40 story, but last time used to be like just 10-story flats. So we will bring them to a place near to Forfar Heights there, with there's this Anglican church there. Satron factory. Do you remember? There was a Satron factory where they assembled the black and white TVs. Yeah. So that was also a place where I had memories because there used to be a road of shop houses with provision shops and coffee shops. So I would talk about my memories there. Because there's one very good sita store there.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
remember the the flatter factory that's still there today? Commonwealth flatter factory?
That is in Commonwealth. I
Uh,
don't go there very often when I was in
mm,
primary school. When I was in like growing up, yeah.
okay,
So I
okay.
don't go to Tanglin Hawk site so often. My area is more like really like the Princess Estate there, all the way
Mm,
to Tazong. Yeah, and most to the Mei Street, Mei Chin Street there, Mei Chin Road there, but not so much to Tanglin Hawk. Occasionally only.
mm. And then from Cetron,
Oh, then from
uh,
there we would go to Margaret Drive, where
mm,
like the Queenstown Primary School, so where I used to stay. Then I bring them to the site where I stay, the site where my old primary school used to be. Yeah, and then we will walk to Remand Prison, where Remand Prison used to be, and Queenstown Library. Then we will go opposite. Used to be the 大众百货公司, right? But now it's all the new flats. So we will bring them up to the Sky Garden, in one of those flats, and point out to them like, oh, they can still see the swimming pool and the complex now, which is under reno. Then we will also point to them where Tanglin Hall, the old flats used to be.
yeah,
Yeah. And then after that, we will cross the road to Stirling Road, show them the first HDB blocks, those that were really built by HDB, not SIT. But I would also show them the SIT flats, which are now private houses. Those flats that I used to stay, there are about probably less than 200 now in Singapore. So some of them were in Stirling Road. So I'll show them the real houses now. Like, okay, this is the kind of house that I used to stay, but now
mm,
these are like they're privatized, more like privatized. Yeah, then we will cross over to Tanglin Hawk. Let them see the Blessed Sacrament Church, which has
mm,
been there for a long time, the Hindu temple that is beside it. And then we will walk into Wessex Estate. Wow, that is totally another area. Like, the black and white houses, the coal bar where the colonial, um,
that is quite a
um,
long walk. Over
yeah, well,
how long does it take?
3 hours. We
Three
aim to finish in
hours.
3 hours.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
we aim to finish in 3 hours, and then we will finish at Tanglin Hawk,
Mm,
the hawker center there. Not
right.
the octagonal one, but the one that is not demolished yet.
I mean, who are the
So we
people
will end
who
there.
usually come on the walks? Are they former residents or they completely new people who are just interested?
Surprisingly, there are very few former residents.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people came like from as far as Tampines and Jurong West. Yeah, so they are really, wow, kudos to them. Because our meeting point at Queenstown MRT is at 8:30. Wow, they really travel all the way from Tampines to Queenstown there.
Mm.
Yeah, so we often joke like, are you here to look for houses? Like, because the property prices are quite high now.
Are these people of what kind of demographics are they? Like
Mm,
our
very few
generation
young,
or
yeah, our
yeah.
generation or older.
Okay.
Very few young children, unless they
Mm,
come with their parents.
mm.
Yeah. Then we do get foreigners as well. Some foreigners. Yeah. Especially those who are staying in Singapore, but not so much of tourists. Yeah.
What is it that what is their interest? I mean, this is because this is a fairly new town, right? It was built in the 50s and all that. It's considered modern in its time. It's modern. So there are people who are interested in this kind of modern heritage or modernist architecture, right? Why are they coming? What do they want to learn from Queenstown? What are they interested in? I mean, this is not like Chinatown. This is not like going to the old kampongs. It's a different kind of heritage, right? You bring them to library, emporium, prison, factory. These are all considered pretty new, right? But it's still a source of interest to them. Why do you think
Oh,
they are interested in it?
I would say that most of these people are
Mm,
interested in
mm,
listening to
mm.
yesteryear stories. Yeah. So like the library is not new. It's the
Yeah,
very first public library in Singapore. The
yeah.
Remand Prison no longer here. But we will talk about like well-known people who have been residents there.
Mm.
Yeah, so they want to hear. I think they're interested in hearing stories of yesteryears, especially the slightly older ones. They can connect. Like when we talk about the Queenstown Polyclinic, which is no longer a polyclinic there now, but the
Mm.
structure is still there. Then we talk about the Macy, the nurse, how we used to call the nurse.
Mm.
Yeah. So some of these people will share their stories with us. Yeah. So I think to them is also reminiscing about the past. Yeah. And then to the slightly younger ones, they were like, oh, they are interested to know about places with this kind of old world charm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
after
like,
all,
mm,
Queenstown is really the first satellite town. It was started even before HDB was set up.
yeah.
Started with SIT and how we transform. Yeah, so we do show them the different kind of houses from SIT, which is now at Stirling Road, to those early days, the first HDB flats that are built, to the really new ones, the modern ones with Sky Garden, so they can see the developments of Singapore as well. Yeah. Then when I
Mm.
talk about the schools, we used to have like 10 of the schools. Why is it now only left to one? Then we talk about a little bit about the policy. Two is enough. So for the older ones, they can relate. Yeah, two is enough. That those era when we were told two is enough and it's brainwashed into us until now, like it really works so well. Now the government's trying to reverse. Yeah.
Your family didn't follow that though.
No. So that's the reason why
Yeah.
only my brother and I went to
Uh,
the same primary school. My two younger sisters, I always ask the participant, why do my two younger sisters go to another school, which is like further away? Because this is like a penalty for my parents for having more than two children.
wait,
Because,
so they
yeah,
couldn't apply for a school in the neighborhood?
no. Okay, usually the younger siblings could follow the older siblings to study in the same school. You have
Uh-huh.
priority. So I
Right.
had priority because my older brother studied in Margaret Drive school. So I went to the same school because it is convenient for the parents, right, to bring the children to the same school. But for my younger siblings, they couldn't go to the same primary school as me because
Mm.
my parents didn't follow the two is enough policy. They had more than two, so they had to pay a so-called a penalty, and one of the penalties is that your third and fourth child cannot go to the same primary school
Mm.
as your
I didn't know that.
first two children. Yeah, there was
Ah,
this penalty.
okay.
So that's why my younger sisters, they had to go to a school that is further away from the house because it is more inconvenient, right? Because that is the
Mm.
penalty you have to pay for having more than two children. Yeah.
Mm. And there was a fine also, right?
Yeah, there was a fine also. So my parents paid the fine. Yeah.
Do you know why your parents persisted?
I think at that time, that generation, they want to have more than. To them, it's like having more, the better, having more children. To them,
Mm.
3 or 4 is really normal.
When you do the guiding and you bring the group to the flats, right? What is it you tell about the flats?
You mean the new flats
The
or
old
the old one?
flats, like the Sterling flats and any HDB
Yeah,
flats that you bring them to? The Sterling flats,
yeah.
right? Yeah,
No, there's the HDB flat, the new one at
right.
the new Margaret Drive Hawker
Mm,
Center. So we will bring them there
mm,
to the Sky Garden to have a bird's eye view of the
mm,
area
mm,
where they can see Tanglin Hawk, they can see the swimming pool as well. Yeah, before we cross the road to Stirling Road to show them,
mm,
I will show them the SIT flats because there are still some SIT flats over there, but it's private, so-called like, sold to the owner. So I will tell them, just now at Margaret Drive, I told you, I show you photographs of my old house. This is the kind of house, how it looks like. Yeah, but without the fence. Yeah. So I will show them. Yeah.
I mean, how do you tell the story of HDB flats, right? I mean, like HDB flat is the norm now. Is there any way that distinguishes these HDB flats from flats now?
The old one, yeah, because the
Mm,
the first uh flats built by HDB are still there, just opposite the
yeah,
swimming pool. So we show them, you see, like, in the past, it's like really like all the units are just on one corridor.
right.
There's no like
Mm,
point block because at that time, the government really just wanted to resettle people from
mm,
slums and all that. So they just want to build quick, build fast and simple. So this kind of simple one slab of flat. So we show them. And interestingly, um, people were talking about having this common rubbish chute now outside your unit, right? And then they prefer to have it inside their unit. They thought like the earlier HDB flats have. But do you know that the first HDB flats actually had their rubbish chute outside? So that was the one. So we will bring them. If we have time, we will actually bring them up to see the rubbish chute that is outside. You see? So actually it started from the very first generation HDB flats, not the newer flats. So don't complain now. It used to be outside. Then after that, they switch it to inside the unit. And then now it's outside again. Yeah.
At
Do
a
you remember
common
those days
place.
when HDB flat, you have the rubbish chute inside your house?
Yeah.
Yeah, then after that, no more, right? The newer HDB flats, they all have it outside, whereby you really have to leave your house, leave your unit, go to a common area. Your neighbors will all share the same rubbish chute. Yeah. So this is the what I mean by outside. So the first HDB flat, the rubbish chute was actually outside.
How much has the town center changed now? I mean, if you go to the town center now, what is left now?
It's certainly an overhaul. It's a facelift. Yeah, totally changed. All high-rise BTO flats. With condos along Alexandra Road as well, but there are going to be more condos in Margaret. In fact, along Margaret Drive, Commonwealth, there are already condos like Commonwealth Tower, Margaretville, and so on. But of course, a lot of new BTO flats which look like condo, very beautiful. What I remember of Margaret Drive and that area was really just low rise. At most, probably 16-story, 14-story, 10-story. Yeah. Then there was also
the public buildings, the commercial buildings, swimming pool, library, cinema.
Oh, they are still there. They are conserved. Oh, no more
Right.
cinemas. Definitely no more cinemas. They have been converted into churches.
So what has been conserved? The library is still there?
Library is still there. Yeah, library is still there. The swimming pool and the running track will be there. Swimming pool, I'm not too sure because I see that it is hoarded up. I'm not sure whether they're going to conserve the swimming pool, but I heard that the running track is under renovation, so it will be reopened. Yeah, but if you are talking about houses, no more. All those old houses, because it's prime land. Queenstown is prime land.
Yeah.
So if you have taller flats, you can sell more units.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So no more of those like 3 or 4-story houses that I remember. Yeah. Because
what is your program like? Tell the listener what is your next guide, next tour, next walk?
Oh, my next walk will be Queenstown and Overhaul. Okay, let me just see. It will be on the 22nd of this month.
Yeah. So do you do this weekly or kind of on a schedule?
No, it's a monthly walk. It's a monthly walk. But besides Queenstown, I actually guide other places as well. So so I will choose like, for each month where I want to go. Yeah.
Where else do you guide?
I do Alexandra.
Okay.
So Alexandra will bring people to Labrador. We start at Labrador MRT. Then so that's the Labrador part. I do Mount Faber as well. Yeah, Mount Faber. And there's one more which is Sentosa. Though I have not been guiding at Sentosa so often now because 3 of my tours actually all coincide on the same day. So I have to choose like one. Yeah. If you go to Eventbrite and you look out for My Community Heritage Walks, you see like a list of all the walks. So you can sign up from there and then you just click follow. Once you follow, right, whenever there are new tours published by My Community, they will definitely get notified. Yeah.
Okay, great.
By email, or if you have the app, you will get the notification. I always see the emails coming in because I follow.
I'll try to put a link in the description to the Eventbrite page.
Oh, I can send you the link
you can send
so that you can. Yeah, I can send you.
Okay, I have one last question.
Sure.
I mean, we've had a very nice chat about your kind of personal history, right, with Margaret Drive and what you are doing now in terms of volunteering and guiding, which is tremendous, So the last question would be like, what else can we do, you think, to document and to publicize the heritage of Queenstown and especially Margaret Drive? What else can be done, or what else is there still to be done?
Okay, my community is building a museum at
Yeah.
the void deck of
Mm.
a new block of flats at Margaret Drive there. So besides all these heritage walks, I think having talks would be good. Yeah,
Mm.
because a lot of these residents in that new flats, right, they are actually are people who have been affected by the SIRS program in Tanglin Hawk. So they were given priority to move to these flats. And
Ah.
some of them are elderlies. So they may not be savvy enough. Not all elderlies, lah, but some elderlies may not be savvy enough to use the handphone, download the app and check Eventbrite and things like that.
Yes.
So I actually thought that it would be a good idea since we're gonna have a museum and it's gonna be open like most of the days. So residents can actually go there because it's going to be like a hub for the residents to just go there and chit chat and things like that. So you can actually, I think I have told our
Yeah.
president that we can actually like so-called advertise and put if there is a counter maybe to tell people who walk in that hey we are going to have this walk. I can do the registration for you instead of expecting the elderly to do the registration themselves.
Mm.
Or if there are enough elderly to sign up, maybe we can have a special tour for them as well to bring them around. Or any, may not even be elderly, can be residents who are interested, new residents who move into Queenstown and they may not know about the history and the heritage of this place.
Mm.
Because to them, it's like, oh, it's a mature estate, it's good location. So they got married, they buy a new BTO flat, but they may not know the history behind this place, the beautiful history that we have. So we can, I think maybe the museum can do a little bit more to
Yeah.
promote
Is
this place.
the museum completed?
No, not completed. It's
Mm.
targeted to complete probably mid of this year or end of this
Yeah.
year.
And where
I'm
is it now?
forwarding. Okay, we don't have a museum now because
Yes.
the
Yes.
previous museum was in Tanglin Hawk.
Mm.
So after Tanglin Hawk, we were affected by the
Yeah.
SIRS, so we had to close down our museum, and we are building a new one at the void deck of this new block. It's still ongoing the work. So for now, we have no museum.
Mm. Yeah,
Mm,
you actually bring up a good point about the SIRS and how it has moved some of the elderly people around, right? So can you like tell us about from what you know lah, these elderly residents in Queenstown who have
mm,
been en bloc and they have
mm, mm,
moved to I suppose quite nearby, right? In the
very
point
nearby.
box quite
Mm,
nearby. Can you tell
mm.
us about this movement of this elderly around Queenstown?
Okay, I remember during
Mm.
that time when, it was big news that Tanglin Hawk is going to go through SIRS on
Yes.
block.
Mm.
Because a lot of the residents there were quite elderly,
Mm.
and some of them they were not literate, so they didn't even read those HDB letters that were
Mm.
sent to them to inform them about this move. And my community had a very good initiative called Hello Dawson, if I'm not wrong. I wasn't
Yeah.
involved,
Yeah.
but at least I know what they were doing. It is a special team that is from Hello Dawson, whereby they actually reach out door to door, to these old Tanglin Hawk residents and tell them about the move, inform them about it, even help them with the move. Yeah, so I remember we had volunteers who even helped them with the move from Tanglin Hawk to the new flats there. Yeah, to help them settle down.
Mm.
Yeah. So um this is a ground up initiative.
Yeah.
Um I I think it is really good, but
Mm.
if let's say without this initiative, it would have been very unsettling for these old
Yeah.
residents.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're gonna leave a place that they are so familiar with, although it is not very far away. Um all their neighbors may not be moving to. There are some residents from Bangkok who didn't move, who didn't pick up the new houses at Margaret Drive because
Mm.
maybe they want to stay with their children. I heard that some went to Choa Chu Kang, some whatever. So to those who took up the offer, they may not see their own neighbors anymore. The
Yeah.
familiarity is not there. So I think it can be very unsettling. For younger people, of course, they'll be very happy, moving. They can get out of their comfort zone, but not so for older residents. So maybe
Yeah.
I think maybe the government can do a
Mm.
little bit more on this, to help resettle them and not just about it's not just about, oh, I'm giving you a better place to stay,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
but
not
to
just
them,
about
it's the
money also. It's
emotion.
not just about,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
compensation and all that.
correct. So
Uh
I'm really proud that
yeah.
my community is doing this with this ground up initiative to help the residents. But maybe we can have more of such things, or maybe even from the government's
Yeah,
initiative.
for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, they are supposed to be grassroots, right?
Yeah, there are grassroots, right? I think grassroots should do
Yes,
a
yes.
little bit
Have you
more.
have you talked to any of these elderly residents about their moving?
No, because I wasn't involved in the Hello Dawson. But I
Mm,
have a friend who moved from Bangkok to here, but he doesn't belong to the elderly. Yeah. So he told me about
okay.
how his neighbor, the uncle, an elderly moved, and now
Mm,
also his neighbor, like he practically moved everything from his old house to here. Nothing changed because he refused to give up any of his old things. Yeah.
mm, mm. And also, I mean, it's one thing to like make sure that they are taken care of emotionally and psychologically and
Mm,
socially as well. But it's also another thing, these elderly people are a resource, right? Actually, they are filled with
mm.
memories about the old
Yeah, yeah,
Dawson
yeah.
or
Correct,
parts
correct.
of Queenstown and all that. That they should also be subjects, in these talks and initiatives. They can talk about
Mm,
their,
mm.
it seems that some of them are not well educated, is it?
Maybe some, yeah,
Maybe
some are
some lah,
illiterate,
yeah.
like I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned, yeah. So that's why they don't even know about all these letters that came from HDB telling them that they have to move. Yeah. So yeah, if they are involved, that would be good. If even if they are not involved in decision making, at least I think it would be
Mm.
good to talk to them to document the
Yeah.
social memories, the oral history. Otherwise, they will all be gone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would love to do that, right? So if any of the people listening know of someone who was kind of affected by SARS, let me know. I'll be very, very happy to have some of these old folks
Mm,
come and share their stories of living in Queenstown and their
mm,
relationship with Queenstown, right? Because that's a different generation. That's an older generation from our
yes.
generation.
Yeah.
It's wonderful talking to you, Yan Ching.
Yeah, same here. I enjoy talking to you as well. Yeah.
Uh,
Thanks for giving me a chance to share about Queenstown.
Thanks for coming on. I'm very sure that your feelings about Queenstown are not unique. There are many people who feel like you,
Mm,
and I hope
mm,
that this episode helps to kind of connect some of these memories about living in one of the
mm,
pioneer neighborhoods of
mm,
Singapore, right?
mm.
So thank you very much. Can you send me some of those? I don't know if you have digitized some of those wonderful photographs.
I can send to you. Even
Yeah,
if it is I'm not, then I'll just take pictures and send it to you.
can. Especially the SIT one, your house.
Ah, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
Can. All right.
Thank you very much. Have a good
Thank you. Thank
Sunday.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Same to you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.